You're the voice trying to understand it. Make a noise and make it clear. You're the voice trying to understand it. Yeah.
Hello everybody, how's it going? Lord Josh here once again. I've noticed in my recent videos I've been focusing quite a lot on Taoist magic, weather magic, feng shui, star stepping, longevity, etc. And I haven't really been paying an awful lot of energy and attention to the Mayan aspect, and that's a huge part of my work here on YouTube. So I want to take the spotlight away from the Taoist magic just for a little bit and focus on the Mesoamerican topics and see what comes up there. All of you out there, or most of you watching this, will be somewhat familiar with the format of these videos. The goal here is that I will look for symbolism that relates to the Lamat Star. But this one breaks all the rules, okay? Because we're not just looking for symbols here, we are looking for a certain word within a certain fraternity or brotherhood, okay? So this gets really deep, and this goes onto a different path than what we've already covered on this channel. So here we have the Skull and Bones Society. Now this is a very mysterious group. It's a bit like the Freemasons, but I would argue that the Skull and Bones Society is perhaps even more secretive than the Masons in a lot of ways. It was formed in 1832, and I want to jump straight in with this famous symbol right here, and let's pick it apart. You know me, I can get to this straight away. Let's take a look at this. So if you zoom right in, you gotta zoom in, you always have to zoom in with the symbols. What's that in the left eye? What does that look like to you? You tell me. That's a V. Do you see it? V, right there. Why would there be a V in the eye? That's just bones, right? That's just detail on the drawing. No, 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 no. Anything that's on this drawing, remember it's a drawing, it's not real. Anything on here was created to be put here on purpose. It's there with a purpose, with a reason, by an artist who created it. There's a very clear V. V for Venus, right? We all know this by now. V for Venus. Why? What's the significance with Venus? In Mayan mythology, Venus relates to death and life. Life and death disappears and reappears as the morning star. And the Mayans and the Aztecs as well, even the Olmecs to some degree, loved to worship and pray to Venus because it has a lot of authority over controlling one's fundamental life, deciding or not whether they die. So we have a lot of death energy going here, of course, with the skull and the bones, and we have the V for Venus in the left eye. Let's take an actual look at the bones themselves. So we have femur bones in a crisscross-like shape forming an X. What is an X? An X is a four-sided representation of the four-directional Lamat Mayan hieroglyph philosophy, which connects to the four chambers of the human heart, the four personality types, the four blood types of humans, four legs of most mammals, four wings of most insects, four corresponding earthly directions, four Western earthly elements, etc., etc., etc. The four holy gospels of Christianity, the four noble truths of Buddhism. Okay, we've got it all going on here. It's all represented in this symbol. If you can debunk it, go ahead and debunk it. I'm waiting for it. And now, over here, we've got 322. Now this has puzzled people for a very long time. What does 322 mean? Here's what it means. And I should make a separate video on this, because this goes into quite a deep subject, and I don't want to cover it all and squeeze it all into one video. It won't make sense to do that. But in a nutshell, if you take 322 and you add on 122, you get 444. 444. This is the second most divine sequence within the Lamat belief. The most divine is 4444. And that doesn't show up very often, but we have the second most divine sequence, and it's here. 322, add 122, 444. I think it's very important that I also draw your attention to the contemporary usage of the skull and bones symbol, which in this day and age is used quite a lot to signify poison, toxins, and chemicals, and also to some extent diseases, epidemics, and illness. Now, does that ring a bell? Epidemics? Because in ODT Escape or Die Trying, the 1998 video game, the whole game centers around a terrible epidemic which is decimating the population of Calais. And in order for that epidemic to be cured, you have to find the green pearl and retrieve it back to the city. So it's quite funny how this symbol is depicting a terrible disease, almost like there is a remedy out there which should be used to counteract this awful illness, this awful plague. And that's what LeMat also represents. He represents the cure. He represents the solution to the illness, to the disease. And we're not actually talking about necessarily a physical or mental illness, but a spiritual illness, a spiritual loss of self-identity. We're living in a false reality in the sense that we've lost connection to who we are as people. And so LeMat might be that solution and a way that we can cure our sickness. And this is a sign right here that's depicting the plague or the legendary epidemic from the game. We just have to find our metaphorical green pearl in order to save the day, and I think that is Captain LeMat. Now, anagrams are very important when you are deciphering symbolism. Sometimes the words are actually more important than the symbols themselves. And an anagram of the word bone is ebon, and ebon means dark brown or black, something very dark. So here in the Skull and Bones Society, you have the anagram of the word bone, which is ebon, and ebon suggests black magic, baneful magic, dark esoteric practices, and that perfectly aligns with the activities of the members of this fraternity. Very dark, mystical practices that probably fall more to the darker side of black magic, okay? Now I'm going to move away from the Skull and Bones Society, and I want to draw your attention to the Knights of Malta. Okay, oh, the Knights of Malta. Lord Josh, you're insane. There's nothing to see there. You're crazy. What are you talking about, Knights of Malta? You probably think I'm going to draw your attention to the obvious four-directional Lamat Star symbol right here. Look how obvious that is. Do you see that? That's so obvious, isn't it? Oh no. I mean, yeah, that's there. That's definitely a synchronicity, and they definitely use it. But that's not what I'm just talking about here. Do you see it? I like my viewers to also make up their own minds and to be able to draw their own conclusions. Can you connect the dots here? Can you see this? The Knights of what? Are you sure it's Malta? Oh yes, Lord Josh, I'm absolutely sure about that. No, it's definitely Malta. It's got to be Malta. Really? Really? Take my glasses off for this. Really? Are you sure? Malta is an anagram for LeMat. Look at it. It's an anagram for LeMat. I don't make this fit. You can't make anagrams fit. If they don't fit, they don't fit. If they don't work, they can't work. And it works. I sat here looking at this card right here, Lamat Star, and I was meditating on this because LeMat was pulling me in the direction he was saying to me, you've got to look into the Skull and Bones Society, and most importantly, you've got to look into the Knights of Malta. And I was racking my brains, I was thinking about this obsessively, and I just could not come to a conclusion. What does LeMat want me to see here? What is he pointing me towards? I couldn't quite understand where he was guiding me. And one night, it clicked. It clicked. It felt like the universe was in the palm of my hand. You know, that feeling, that infinite feeling of bliss and power. You feel like everything's going your way. That night I realized. Four-directional symbol. Lamat Star. There is no Knights of Malta. There is the Knights of LeMat. They carry his symbol and they cover it up. And they pretend it's not true. And they make people like me look a little bit insane, which I kind of am. But at the same time, Malta is an anagram of LeMat. You can't change it. Anagrams don't change. You can't make them up. It fits, it works, it corresponds, and there's the symbol to go along with it. You see what I'm saying? You see how it's out there and people always say, no, it isn't. This doesn't prove anything, it's all coincidence. If you keep saying that it's coincidence, you become a coincidence theorist. I could sit here and go through thousands and thousands of symbols, and you could still come back and say to me, Lord Josh, it's all coincidence. Some people you just cannot please. But I know, because I've been researching this now since 2007, and I make this star my life. There it is. There it is. It's on my back. I'm not sure if you can see this. Look at that. Lamat Star. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And if you train yourself and you program yourself to look for it, which is what I'm trying to do to my viewers, I want you to recognize the star. I want you to see it. And if you can spot it, your life will change. It will change drastically. And all of the organizations, all of the people that are using the Lamat Star and the Lamat name, eventually it's going to come to a point where they're going to have to admit to the general population, we aren't the Knights of Malta, we aren't the Order of the Skull and Bone Society, we aren't actually the Freemasons, we aren't even really Christians. Okay? We are worshipping and we are paying tribute to something that we don't even consciously know that we are worshipping. I'm not saying that these people are actually intentionally knowing that they're connecting to Lamat. They don't know it. I think what they're thinking, I can't read their minds, but I believe what they're thinking is they really do believe that they are the Knights of Malta. And the Freemasons really do believe in what they're doing. But actually they're feeling this subconscious energy that's making them create these four-directional signs and making anagrams like this become reality. People don't realize the things that they do. Why do they do them? Where do these feelings and these urges come from? They have to come from somewhere. And a lot of the time we're not even aware of where they come from or aware that we're even feeling them in the first place. And that's Lamat. Lamat is that feeling. He's that urge. He's that desire. And we ignore it because in a lot of ways we write it off. We don't think it's important. But Lamat is. He's everywhere. From the wings of a dragonfly to the paw of an animal, he's everywhere. When you see the four, Lamat is nearby. When you go down the rabbit hole, why do they call it the rabbit hole? Because that's how Lamat manifests. He is the rabbit. That's his sign. That's his animal. That's how he likes to communicate with people. And also you get Captain Lamat. It's funny, isn't it? How people will ridicule it, and they will say things like, Lamat is just a Mayan hieroglyph. Lamat is just an old symbol. Lamat is just another word for star. Or Lamat is a character. You start to realize that yes, he is all of these things, because he's everything. And that's what makes him so brilliant. It's not just one aspect. It's not very specific. It's general, but you can recognize it. Has anybody else ever made this connection? I guarantee you they haven't. I guarantee you they haven't. I know they haven't. And so this right here is the first time ever, where we have seen the word Lamat manifest. This is huge. This is groundbreaking. This is unlike any other synchronicity we've ever seen. The Lamat essence is not limited to the Knights of Malta. Also, the Knights Templar use the very familiar four-directional cross symbol. A lot of these fraternities and brotherhoods and secret societies, they're addicted to using four-directional symbolism. So it's not just one or two, it's dozens of them out there. And a lot of successful companies, businesses, will use four-directional symbolism because the Lamat Star also corresponds and represents abundance. So if you use an auspicious symbol, that's going to attract a lot of customers to you, therefore it's going to make you a lot of money and make you into a financial success. But you can also use it for esoteric practices as well, in order to sort of conceal your activities. And the star works as a very good concealer in order to hide what you are doing, which is what the occult means, knowledge of the hidden. So isn't it funny how they all do this, and nobody ever draws the connections or connects the dots and says, hang on a second, all of these groups are using four-directional symbolism there has to be a meaning behind it, there has to be a greater reason as to why they're doing it. And it always connects to LeMat. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'm going to make a video looking at the symbols in video games. I'm going to be doing a video on music, because also there's a lot of synchronicities with music. And I'll also do one on movies. We're going to have a whole section to do with entertainment and how LeMat manifests in entertainment mediums. So thank you a lot for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please do consider checking out the other videos in the series. I've got a lot of work on here relating to the LeMat symbolism and the Mayans. Take care, and I'll see you soon.